And there was a time where I worried that I might go over the edge. And
what does that mean, over the edge?
And just lose it.
For half a century, Robert Redford was the man every woman wanted and every man wanted to be. The golden hair, the perfect smile, the effortless cool. It was an image Hollywood sold to the world and we all bought it. But it was a lie. Behind the scenes, the real Robert Redford wasn't a hero. He was a man desperately trying to outrun a ghost. While he charmed audiences in films like Butch Cassidy and The Way We Were, he lived with a private wound so deep it would have shattered most men. It all goes back to one woman. She found him when he was a broke, rebellious nobody. She saved him from himself. And ultimately, she was the one he lost in a decision that would poison his life for decades. Now, the truth is finally coming out. The devastating tragedy that forged their bond. The crushing weight of fame that tore them apart. The string of failed, fiery romances he used to try and forget her. What really happened behind the closed doors of Hollywood's golden couple? And why did the man who had everything spend a lifetime haunted by the one love he let slip away? The rebellious beginning that shaped a legend. Before fame, Robert Redford was just a restless kid from Santa Monica. His accountant father provided stability. His patient mother became his emotional anchor. They weren't poor, but they lived far from the Hollywood world that would later embrace him. Redford hated classrooms, but thrived wherever his imagination could roam. He loved sketching, baseball, and tennis. His skills with a racket were so impressive that he even practiced with tennis legend Pancho Gonzalez. For a while, it seemed he might pursue a career in sports. Yet, behind his golden boy appearance lurked a tendency towards self-destruction. At the University of Colorado, where he'd earned a tennis scholarship, Redford discovered alcohol. His grades quickly crashed. Soon after, the university expelled him and his scholarship vanished overnight. Instead of going home defeated, Redford shocked everyone. He fled to Europe with nothing but a sketch pad and whatever cash he had in his pocket. He slept in cheap hostels. He sketched strangers. He absorbed the beauty of Paris, Rome, and Madrid. During this time, he wasn't chasing fame. He was simply finding himself. While broke and anonymous in Europe, Redford shed his privileged identity. But something transformative awaited him back home. This included meeting the woman who would save his life and eventually break his heart. The love that saved him from self-destruction. Returning to America, Redford wasn't chasing fame, he was fleeing failure. He studied painting at Pratt Institute before acting found him like an irresistible current. Without a safety net, he joined the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Then Lola Van Wagenen entered his life. This young Mormon from Provo was his complete opposite. She was disciplined and spiritual where he was chaotic. They met when Redford was still a nobody, struggling through auditions. Their connection defied all logic. The rebel artist and devout believer somehow found their missing pieces in each other. Their chemistry shocked everyone around them, especially Lola's traditional family. In 1958, they chose passion over permission and eloped. Lola saw potential in Redford that even he couldn't recognize. "She believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself," he later confessed. With her by his side, his talent found direction. The grip of alcohol on his life began to loosen. Just as their beautiful story was beginning, fate stepped in. The test ahead would either destroy them completely or forge an unbreakable bond. What happened next would leave a scar that even decades of fame couldn't heal. The devastating loss that changed everything. Nothing prepares you for losing a child. Robert and Lola's first son, Scott, died from sudden infant death syndrome when he was just 2 months old. A moment of hope vanished in an instant. The grief was crushing. It stole their breath and warped their sense of time. Redford later admitted this pain never truly disappeared. It silently shaped who he became. Yet instead of destroying their marriage, this tragedy deepened their bond. Lola didn't run from his grief. She embraced it. Many relationships collapse under such weight, but theirs grew stronger. She became his anchor during times when he doubted his talent. In this uncertain world, Lola was his shelter. Together they rebuilt their lives as Redford's dream began taking shape. His breakthrough came in 1963 with Broadway's Barefoot in the Park. The performance showcased his charm and timing, electrifying audiences. Suddenly, Hollywood wasn't just a fantasy, it was calling. Television roles soon followed. He appeared in The Twilight Zone, Perry Mason, and other shows that honed his screen presence. Then came Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, a film that made him not just famous but iconic. As the world fell in love with this golden boy of a new Hollywood era, his marriage to the woman who knew him before fame began showing its first quiet cracks. Fame's bitter price on his marriage. By the late 1960s, Robert Redford wasn't just famous, he was everywhere. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid exploded onto screens, catapulting him to stardom. His face dominated media while his chair at home sat empty. The spotlight that illuminated his career cast long shadows over his family life. Millions swooned over his charm, yet Lola was left raising their 3 children alone, Shauna, James and Amy. Film sets replaced home. Hotel rooms substituted for family dinners. As Redford's star soared, his marriage plummeted. "I was selfish," he later confessed. "I was chasing something that kept moving further away. I couldn't see what I was leaving behind." His ambition had once attracted Lola. Now it became the wedge between them. She managed their household with quiet dignity, while he conquered Hollywood. He radically innovated independent cinema with the Sundance Film Festival. Meanwhile, his marriage crumbled beneath his success. This box office titan couldn't figure out how to be present for those who mattered most. He wasn't missing moments, he was missing years. Their divorce in 1985 ended 27 years together. There was no scandal, no courtroom drama, no tell-all interviews. Just signatures dissolving nearly 3 decades of history, handled with the same quiet dignity Lola always embodied. One revelation haunted Redford throughout the years that followed. Despite all his relationships and achievements, he never stopped calling Lola the love of my life. This wasn't media fodder, but a painful truth he carried like a stone. She knew him before fame and loved him when he was nobody. They shared a bond even divorce couldn't break. Redford's star continued rising. Soon he would discover that replacing what he'd lost would lead him down a path of passionate but doomed romances. These relationships shocked even his closest friends. The romantic rebellion after heartbreak. After his marriage collapsed, Redford plunged into relationships starkly different from what he had with Lola. His 1987 fling with Brazilian bombshell Sonia Braga set tabloids on fire. She was fiery, outspoken, and spotlight-loving. Everything his ex-wife wasn't. Their electric chemistry at Cannes caused photographer frenzies. Yet within a year, the flame had completely extinguished. This pattern soon repeated with Swedish actress Lena Olin on the Havana set in 1990. Their connection clearly transcended the script. Whispered late-night conversations, lingering touches, and that infamous off-camera kiss revealed genuine passion. For nearly a year, Olin connected with the thoughtful man behind the famous facade. Then, their relationship quietly ended in 1991. These high-profile romances exposed what Redford himself couldn't see. He wasn't pursuing new love, but fleeing old ghosts. Each relationship seemed deliberately opposite to what he had with Lola. It was as if he was trying to erase her memory entirely, but no affair, however passionate, could fill the Lola-shaped void in his heart. As he entered his mid-50s, Redford stood at a crossroads. Professionally, he had achieved remarkable success. Personally, he remained adrift. He didn't yet realize that finding peace would require him to stop running. True healing would come only by embracing a different kind of love entirely, one that existed far outside the Hollywood bubble. Finding peace beyond the spotlight. Robert Redford quietly vanished from Hollywood's spotlight. After years of relentless fame, he found refuge in the shadows. When Kathy O'Rea entered his life, she offered something precious: This talented costume designer saw the man, not the legend. Their relationship thrived away from tabloids and cameras. It gave Redford a taste of normal life after decades under scrutiny. But fate had another chapter planned. In the late 1990s, he met Sibylle Sagers at Sundance. This acclaimed German artist didn't even recognize him when they first met. "She had no idea who I was," he later confessed. "She just saw me as another artist. It was the most liberating feeling I'd experienced in decades." Their connection wasn't built on Hollywood glamour. Instead, they shared passions for environmental activism and art celebrating nature. They married in 2009 in a private Hamburg ceremony. There were no celebrities, no magazine deals, just an authentic commitment between two people. Together they founded The Way of the Rain. This project created environmental awareness through art performances that travelled globally. "Sibylle gave me a whole new life," Redford revealed in a rare, vulnerable moment. "She showed me my voice could matter beyond film." Yet ghosts from his past still shadowed him. The loss of his infant son and complicated feelings about Lola remained. These emotions from his pre-fame days never fully disappeared. As Redford settled into this unexpected chapter with Sibylle, Hollywood would soon make a discovery. The legend wasn't quite ready to fade away. His most surprising performances were still waiting in the wings. The legend's final act that wasn't so final. In 2013, Redford stunned audiences with his performance in All Is Lost. He commanded the screen for 106 minutes with barely a word. His acting relied purely on raw emotion. Then came a shocking career turn. Hollywood's charming hero transformed into a Marvel villain in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This risky move paid off brilliantly. By 2018, Redford publicly declared The Old Man and the Gun would be his final role. The character he portrayed was a bank robber who couldn't quit the thrill, much like Redford himself. However, after completing his farewell tour, he admitted regret about the retirement announcement. "That was a mistake," he confessed. "You never know what's coming next." The truth became clear over time. He never truly disappeared from the industry. Instead, he continued producing films, mentoring new talent at Sundance, and championing environmental causes. What makes this final chapter so fascinating isn't just what Redford did, it's what he chose not to do. There was no tell-all memoir. No revealing interviews surfaced. Even while stepping away from the spotlight, he carefully preserved the mystique that made him legendary. Behind the golden smile and legendary roles lies a man whose real story outshines any character he portrayed. Robert Redford's journey wasn't about Hollywood fame. It was about a man haunted by loss, who never stopped searching for peace. The death of his infant son left a wound that time couldn't heal. Meanwhile, Lola, the woman who believed in him when he was nobody, remained his greatest what if. These twin ghosts shaped every decision, even as he revolutionized cinema with Sundance and found new love with Sibylle. What makes Redford truly remarkable isn't his fame, but his resilience. He showed incredible courage by continuing to open his heart despite devastating losses. He defied expectations at every turn, transforming from rebellious dropout to reluctant icon to environmental warrior. Now in his twilight years, Hollywood's golden boy has finally found what eluded him for decades. Not just success, but genuine contentment on his own terms. His greatest masterpiece was never captured on film. Instead, it was his journey to embrace both the tragedies and triumphs that made him who he is.